Yo, hello, amazing people of YouTube. So today I want to talk to you guys about having heroes. Most people have some type of a hero out there. Me personally, I don't have heroes because living people are pretty disappointing to me, man. It's like that one song. It says, all my heroes had the heart to die out on a limb. In regards to TV and media, like I'm a movie fan, you know, like I'm a movie geek. I love movies. I love movies since I was a kid, you know, and it's really sad to me what they're doing with movies nowadays. And I don't want to come off sounding like a prick to certain people, right? And I'll give examples, and whatever I'm talking about, none of it is meant to be offensive to anybody. Just giving you a heads up on this, right? So, like, there's a lot of movies out there where people portray certain characters, right? Like, or certain culture. So you'll have like Shia Buff. He played that movie like the tax collector, right? And people were all like, "Oh wait, you know, he's like." He's mimicking Hispanic culture or Chicano culture and all this, and it's like, nah, he's not. He's playing a white dude in the hood. There's a whole bunch of a variety of people in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, but people get offended by that, right? But no one ever gets offended by, let's say, a homosexual man playing a heterosexual character in a movie. So I grew up in East Hollywood, right? So East Hollywood is not where the movies are made. That's more like West Hollywood. But being a part of Hollywood, it was always normal for us to see gay dudes, lesbian chicks, even transvestites. Like the actual block I grew up in, as ghetto of a place as it was, as little kids, there was a building across the street. We used to call it the gay building because 90% of the people that lived in that building were either gay or lesbian. And you're talking about this is the 90s, man, early 90s. And we called it the gay building, and it wasn't meant to be derogatory. I actually remember there was a guy named Jim, and he had this dog. He was the manager there, man. Jim was this awesome dude. His dog was awesome. He used to let us climb the trees by the apartment and collect fruits and stuff, because it was like this unique fruit you couldn't find in the store, but it only grew during summer. And he used to, you know, like, it was cool. We knew like this lesbian couple in there, so they were still part of our community, right? Like, even though in the 90s, being openly gay or lesbian was not the same as being openly gay and lesbian like it is today. You know what I'm saying? It's but they were part of the neighborhood. No one was ever going to let any harm come to these people because they were part of our community. Now, we don't know about anybody else from other parts of other neighborhoods, but as far as that building and those people were considered, they were part of the neighborhood, right? Now, what I'm trying to get at with this video is, like, I remember, I think it was Dave Chappell. He made a video. I think he was talking to Oprah, and he's like, "Man, they tried to get me in a dress, and I realized they're trying to put all these black men in dresses, these powerful black men somewhere in their movie career. They'll try and put them in a dress and feminize them." And I was adamant about saying no to it. Like, no, I'm not wearing a dress. Dave Chappelle wore a dress in his first movie. What was it called? Like, not How High. It was Half Baked. He dressed up in a dress in that movie. Like, what are you talking about, bro? You already wore the dress, right? And the weird thing is, like, when people hear that, they're like, yeah, he's kind of right, man. They're putting all these masculine black men in dresses. I got news for you. They're putting all these masculine men in dresses, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger gave birth. What was it? The movie's name was Junior. All right? Mr. Olympia, perfect physique, gave birth. The Rock, he was cradling that other short comedian, kissing on him. You know what I'm saying? So, what I'm trying to get at is like, there's nothing, if that's the way they swing, nothing is wrong with that, right? Nothing is wrong with portraying that, even acting that, right? But it's very confusing to be a masculine actor and then do really unmasculine things, if that makes sense, right? It's a little weird. I mean, I wonder, like, if a straight dude played a gay role today, nowadays, would anyone from the LGBTQ community be offended by that? I wonder these things, you know, and I say it's disappointing because when I look at film, man, if you pay attention to these actors and actresses, right? It's not as profound in actresses, but for actresses, they just want to sleep with them. Like, guys or girls, man, they want to put them in these compromised positions, whether on screen or off screen. It's really weird. Like, you can either Google weird photos of them, or you can watch a movie where they're like in a very compromising position, right? Where an actual masculine man would never allow that to happen to him, right? Take the movie American History X. That was like a masterpiece of a movie with a shit stain on it. And the shit stain was the prison rape scene. It's like anytime prison is brought up, people get raped. It's like, dude, we live in California. Do you know how strict our prison system is? You fuck up, you're getting stabbed. It doesn't matter what race you're from, you're getting stabbed. As dudes, the number one thing we're afraid of is like getting raped. And that's not even on our mind because that shit just doesn't really happen like that. And especially when you're talking about prison, a whole bunch of dudes, believe me, as soon as there's a rapist in like present, these criminals want to take them out. Like, you're a rapist, you're the bottom of the barrel, you're getting out. Like, we're gonna stab you out of here, or we're gonna stab you to death. Now, if you're gay, that's something else, right? That's completely something else. That's like live and let live. They got to go through their own shit, but it is what it is, right? Like, everyone goes through shit in jail and prison. So, like, you take a masterpiece of a movie and then you take a shit stain on it and make it really unrealistic. Is it like, did you guys just want to see this masculine dude just completely get bent over? And that's why I say I don't really have heroes, man. I can't take these actors seriously. I gotta go back to like fucking John Wayne to be like, you know what, that's a masculine dude right there. You know what I'm saying? What, maybe fucking Clint Eastwood? Other than that, it gets weird, man. I don't care which masculine, and I'm not talking about B-list actors. I'm talking about A-list action heroes, right? I'm not talking about some comedian. I'm talking about dudes that are constantly making masculine movies, right? Even the dude from he played, I forget his name, he has a hard name. He played in the movie Crank. And you know when he goes to the hospital and then he his heart is slowing down, so he shocks himself to get some energy, and then he steals a bike from a police officer. Well, he essentially went to the hospital in clothes, left the hospital in socks and a gown, ass cheeks out and everything. Like, I don't understand. There's this, like, it seems to be like this community where we want to put you in a compromised position so that we have something to destroy your career with if you were to ever go against us in a certain way. I see it similar to, like, really high politics, right? Like, you hear about these things of how they're all they're all fucking pedophiles, right? But why are they all rapists and pedophiles? It's an initiation process, right? Because if this dude has this dirt on you, and you have this dirt on him, and you have this dirt on everybody that's in that circle, and everyone partakes in that same disgusting shit, well, now you're stuck with that group. That group can either completely destroy you at any time, or the only way out is to destroy yourself and everybody else. And you know they're not going to destroy themselves, because to do so would be like suicidal in itself. They might as well just commit suicide. And even if they do that, then they're just going to discredit them. You know, if anyone comes out, they're just going to set them up, send them to prison, and then get them killed over there over some bullshit. You know? And it seems to be like back in the day, it's still prevalent. Like, they'll get actors hooked on certain drugs purposely. And then they'll always have, like, that manager next to them or whoever that's supplying them with this drug constantly. So long as they're doing what they're supposed to, long as they're showing up to the $100 million shoot on time every single day, they get their drugs. But soon as they start messing up, well, now they're not getting their drugs. Now, you know, they destroy this person. I mean, that's some of the inner workings of how power works, especially in an industry where the people with power are leaning on other people to create the art form, right? All these investors into, like, let's say you take a big budget movie like the Fast and Furious franchise, right? Like, you take anything from Fast and Furious 3 and 4 beyond, right? You're talking about they spent like $500 million making that movie. And then they spend another $500 million just advertising it. You're talking about crazy numbers. So they have to sell enough of this movie across America and then across the world to get their money back plus some. And the worst thing you can have is an actor that's showing up late or not showing up. Could you imagine if he shows up 30 minutes late? That 30 minutes might not be it's not the average person's 30 minutes. You being late for 30 minutes means everybody is late for 30 minutes. That 30 minutes might be $500,000. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a whole bunch of blackmail and leverage and all kinds of stuff that's going on in this industry. So I hope that clears certain things up of like kind of why they're doing it. But it's still kind of weird to me how they allow themselves to be put in that position. Like, if I were ever an actor, like, there's no amount of money in the world you can offer me for me to portray myself getting raped, or for me to come out in a dress. You can't even get me in like a Roman soldier's outfit. I'm sorry, man, that's too close to a dress. Like Troy and all that shit, like, I'm sorry, that's way too close to a dress. Today, in modern times, you would call that a skirt. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it just goes against certain values that I have as a man. That doesn't mean I'm belittling anybody else that chooses to wear dresses or this or... That's fine if you want to do it on your own time and all, but like, there are people out there that attach themselves to actors and actresses. That's a fact. There's a reason why when The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is in a movie, you might watch it compared to Mr. Joe Schmo Nobody, right? Because you become acquainted with these people. Their sound is in your home. Their image is in your home. They're on your TV. They're in your living room. You know what I'm saying? So people get attached to these actors and actresses, right? And as far as kids go, kids tend to idolize these people, right? So is it weird that a kid idolizes someone as a masculine man, and then that person does something really feminine? Do you guys think that kind of messes up like the kid's head a little bit? Like, what do you guys think? Like, Arnold Schwarzenegger always played these masculine roles and stuff like that. Imagine, like, you're like 8 years old. You look at Arnold Schwarzenegger as this like larger than life figure, right? And then you one day randomly happen to see the movie Junior, and he's having like hormone issues and he's pregnant. Do you think that's gonna do anything to your psyche? And do you think it's done on purpose? Because it seems to be. It seems to be the way the world is going. Like, there's all this, like, they call it like this woke culture, right? But it's not woke. That's not woke at all. That's actually your fucking sleep. You're not awake. You're not awake to anything. You've been like brainwashed. You're the minority. You're not woke. You understand what I'm saying? The rest of the country is not with it. Most of the country, majority of people have kids or are going to have kids at some point in time. And that means that the large majority of people are not going to be gay or lesbian, right? Because two dudes can't just have a kid. Two women can't just have a kid. They gotta go through different means to have kids, right? So it's like the majority of the country, they're kind of aware of the fact, like, you know what? I want the easiest, best life for my kids, right? That means I hope my daughter never hits the pole, never becomes a hooker, right? And I hope she doesn't come home saying she's accidentally pregnant. And for guys, you're like, I hope he doesn't go to jail. I hope he doesn't kill himself. And I hope he doesn't come home saying he accidentally got someone pregnant, right? Now, with that same exact thing, do you guys think, like, the gay and lesbian lifestyle is easy on people? Do you think they go through certain hardships? Like, it's harder for them, or it's been harder for them than just heterosexual people? I think so. even in Hollywood, even in LA, man, even as widespread as it is and as accepted as it is, people are still judgmental, right? So if you have a kid, like, in terms of having the easier lifestyle, I think you would preferably want your kid to be heterosexual, right? Plus, they get to, have kids themselves and then continue on the legacy or the name, right? Or could you imagine the hardship that would come with if your kid ended up becoming like, or wanting to become transsexual, I guess, like, what's the word for it, like wanting to transfer from boy to girl, and I'm talking about surgeries and all, right? That's, I mean, just any surgery is hardship already, right? Not to mention, like, if you get boobs put on or boobs taken off, if you get your junk down there messed with, guy or girl, like, those are like really devastating things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a relative that she had to get rid of a lot of her parts because she was prone to a certain type of cancer, and it was devastating for her. It was I mean, her family was together, her husband was fully supportive, everyone was understanding and compassionate, but she herself, in her head, in her mind, in her daily life, had a hard time for a while. It's not an easy thing to just get your reproductive organs and these things that have been a part of you for as long as you can remember. Suddenly you got to remove them. It's not easy by any means. It's not easy on the body, it's not easy on the mind. I don't know, I kind of jumped around all over the place. I wanted to keep it strictly to like the movies and how they're kind of portraying people, but it is what it is. I'm gonna jump around with it, and I hope nobody's offended with what I'm saying, because I'm not saying it to offend anybody. This is just my opinion and my views. And just because something's a view of mine, that doesn't necessarily mean it's an opinion either. I can have contradictory opinions about the same exact topic. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I hope you're not offended. If you are, fuck you. Other than that, solo YOLO bolo, man. Yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Peace.